Okay, folks, let's get to it on a Thursday, and gonna have to get down to some truth here pretty quickly, and just cut to the chase that you know Bitcoin is not going to do what you want it to do right now. And let's just clear this out of the way because it really is acting in a way that, from a harmonic pattern perspective, we got to respect it and just, you know, call it out for what it is. It's a disappointing attempt to break out here, especially after the shark on most of your major data feeds, and we're right back down, guys. I think we can call it full type one if that's it. I don't like what I see. I don't like what I see in crypto in general. And we've been looking for some signs, some clues. Maybe we get a yellow dot, some kind of hope, signals, constructive behavior. It's not happening. It's not happening. And the rest of crypto, forget it. So let's get serious about that today. For me, I'm always looking at what's the best place to be putting money: stocks or crypto, cash, leverage with options. All markets have their day, their time. This isn't it. So let's just hard cold truth here and call it for what it is. 93,000 target one. What do you guys think? What's up, TA, David, Wayne, Squirrely, Slurpee, Hook of Fish, MC, Lawrence, and the rest of the crew that are always here? Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. You make this fun. And hope you guys are having a great day today. We're here Tuesday, Thursday, so hit the like and the subscribe button if you're enjoying. If you're not enjoying, then give it a thumbs down and the middle finger to me. I'm just venting here a little bit of just saying we got to just stick a fork in it for BTC for now. I think this 93,000 level is a lot like 76K, and we're still, you're 11, 12,000 away. It has to drop almost. It pretty much has to drop a 10% drop from here. That is what I am saying. Couldn't even put in anything. I said Tuesday we would know by Thursday, and it's a dud. We had a perfect check back. It would have been great to see some green, but could not produce it. This is the beauty of what we do with harmonic patterns, confirmation strategies, and signals. We can read it early. And that read is ugly. I just don't like this chart at all. Where here you go. We were here on Tuesday, successful check back on Monday. This should have been the stabilization factor, and then we should have maybe gone sideways, held 105 to send us back into the zone, but nope. No thanks. I really think this is just an ugly 48 hours since our last conversation. So great to see everybody. What's going on? If you guys want to look at some crypto, please, by all means, show me something that's trending, constructive. Otherwise, the rest of it is, I'm disappointed. Like I'm probably looking for an exit on some of these longs that have just been floundering. And the only thing that I have that's working is PAX G, the gold ETF. I'll get to that in a second because I think with gold as well. Although gold was down a 20 something 7, I was buying some earlier today. I'm going to keep stacking PAX G. I'm just going to play the gold through the crypto, or play the crypto through the gold. I think gold goes a lot higher, and I think that will start in a few months here, get that bigger acceleration. But for Bitcoin, maybe someday, but for sure, let's just review. Can we review all the beautiful patterns? And why would it not do a type 1? I mean, we've had a bunch. Not to mention, everyone is looking at saying that's a failed attempt to break out to all-time new highs. Some of the bearish patterns that we have seen every time they print, and the shark has been printed for 2 weeks now, but look at the last three. Last three patterns all gave us some kind of sizable type 1. You know, the crab from December took a little extra time. That got to target 1. Even this little itty bitty bat. Remember that? Little itty bitty bat? Way back in May, June, like a year ago. And it's you know, that's the other thing. It's like an uncanny chronological rhyming, if you will, because here we are a year ago. Where's that? June 4. Happy June 4, even though today's the 5th. There's June 5th. And we sold it off into the end of June. I think that's exactly where we're at, folks. And I don't like to deliver bad news because I know you're all looking for higher prices in crypto. They're not giving it to us. And I don't know. You know, some of the shots I've taken, some I've scratched, others I will scratch. I don't like dead money. Dead money is going into something that doesn't do anything and sideways, and then you're on your knees praying for something that's just not going to transpire. Um, that's where we're at. You know, I think the last three patterns have all worked out to varying degrees, okay? But we even with our last time we had a counter dot, everybody, was back here. Hold on. Bear with me. I'll get this set up. And you guys let me know what you want to look at specifically, but I'm not really there. You know, I was saying maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, hey, this is a good recovery move. Let's see if we can do some damage to resistance, and it just didn't happen. This current HSI right now where we are, and that the way that we do this, okay, we register the signal, which is right there, HSI. Harmonic Strength Index is related to here, this top indicator. Okay, remember here was my arrow. We got to get above the 50. No, thank you. Roll right back down. Here was the other arrow. This is the exact chart we were looking at. 50 rejection back down. That's a bad. It's, well, not necessarily good or bad. It's a bearish sign for lower prices. 103.875 now. I was calling this really for a little while, but you know, back down. I think we got to go 93.2, guys. 93.2, and I want to be in front of this. I have been calling for this pause since day one since the T1 printed, and that was back on the 21st of May, and I said, okay, time to open up that 30 bar window, take us to June 20, which is our webinar. Our webinar on the June the 20th. If you guys want to attend, I'll give you that information in a second. But there's the 30 bar window. You tell me. That's one of the good things about the framework, the patterns, is that if you know what you have to kind of quantify, the limits, the levels, price, and time, then it's like, what is the price action telling you? Lower highs, new lows. Today's the breakdown was just, it really, everybody's looking at the prior low here at 103. You know, before you know it, we're going to be flirting back with the 100K. And that's it. One of the problems I have, the other thought floating around my tiny little brain is that all of these Bitcoin treasury plays that have come out recently, I think it's interesting. We talked about like Metaplanet and GameStop buying Bitcoin, and some of these other guys following the Michael strategy, just now known as strategy, but Michael's strategy has you know, set the pace. But when everybody is on it doing the same thing, that then usually means we're pretty close to at least a short-term limit. So, and think of it this way as well. We're here. Everybody's supposed to be buying Bitcoin, and you can't run it to new highs. We're gonna see. We're really gonna see. I mean, we were looking for signs where this possibly we go here to the monthly or the weekly, excuse me. Can we get above all-time new highs and give us a strong initiation of some kind of larger move? Not yet. And I'll say this bothers me too. We do have a weekly HSI that will be confirmed. That will be confirmed come Sunday night, no matter what. There is nothing that can do to negate the fact that HSI has rolled over. So, folks, if you want to learn more about what we do as a foundation to these sessions, get over to harmonictrader.com. That is me. Register now as a free basic member. Get it here. Okay, and then for everybody that knows the deal, get the 2-week free trial. Especially new folks, still get a few emails after every session. That's great. You know, a steady influx of new people that want to learn, studying the framework. This is the place to start, and send your TradingView username to hpc at sr-analyst.com. sr-analyst.com is the official only programming partner. Chris over there will set you up. He is the best, no doubt. I am fortunate to be working with him. So, but, my job here is to get in front of this and highlight the areas that are essential for what we do and throw it forward. And if we throw this picture forward, there's only a couple possibilities, kids. That's right, Jacob. Respect the harmonics. And that's our job. That's my job. Respect the harmonics. We can't even get a pushback into the zone. So now 103.7, we were 104.2 when we started the stream today. 93.2, guys, book it. Will talk to me by the 21st of June. I think that's the strategy for the next 10, 15 days. What are we officially today? From there's pattern completion. Today would be day 15. So halfway through, day 30 to complete. Get you the 20th. Okay, and we're going to be talking about failed harmonic patterns. Now, I'm not too concerned about this pattern because it doesn't have any big confirmation here on the daily, but it sure is a reaction. Speaking of reaction, NASDAQ just gave back the whole 150. It was up, and it's now down 30 or 40. We hit some big numbers today on NASDAQ. I'll get to that in a second. Quite something. Man, wow. Okay, I was up. My portfolio was doing a lot better this morning. Anyway, that's the deal. And looks like this thing is definitely, we're one close, a daily close under 103.200, which is $500 away. That's nothing. We close under 103 tonight. See you. This would also give us a not the prettiest. I have to get in front of this, guys. Not the nicest of weekly candles after failing to go to all-time new highs. And then if we close under 103, 103 is your number, guys. 103 to get to 93. How about that? Make it easy so you can remember that. And that's what we do. That's what we have to do. Gotta keep it really pertinent to the numbers, stick to the framework, and I still say the 4-hour time frame is your friend. But look what's going on. What's the last 4-hour pattern? Check it out. It's a type 1, now a type 2 bat pattern, which 106. This was for me in the last day or two since we talked on Tuesday. I saw this type 1 and with the dot and then the rejection on the 4 hour to send it all the way back down. For me, the fact that we rejected that and at a dot 106.5, and then you had this breakdown yesterday really started to kind of uh, take out the real level, last level for here, that I think immediately we go to 100,700 hop level. Yeah, all good though. Yep. I just think it's I'm going through a whole lot of this stuff of a lot of different coins, and I find myself going back to less and less crypto, and trying to put together a solid list of things that, I mean, crypto's been amazing, but this cycle is different. This cycle is definitely not 2020. It's not 2016. I've said it's always about Bitcoin allocation, meaning here's BTC, here's the market cap chart, right here at 206 trillion. It's going to be the same, okay, as the price chart, but there you go. And we're back, probably headed back under 2 trillion. Dailies like this, same HSI, it's the same chart, and this is just market cap. But it's for this. Look, the weekly. First of all, you're at a point where if you were really going to rock it, you're not producing a bearish HSI. You're not producing two bearish weeks in a row. If you're looking for acceleration, this is more of like further pause material, and the obvious, aside from say like 1.9, 1.85, which would get you back to 93, why not come back and retest the dot at 166? Where would that take you? Let's not really just get in front of this now. We have been in this 3 to 5 bar window. I started that last week, last Thursday, I guess, and the we're seeing the consequence of what happens when you don't do what you need to do. So where's that? The other one here. Yeah, looking at the weekly, we're at a critical test because HSI is going to, this week's candle is so critical. This week, next week, that's it. I was really trying to be constructive, say, hey, it's not no moon yet, and 115 is still the absolute breakout. Okay, before we could see any kind of potential larger possibility. I'm of the opinion that we're back here at the 102.5 long-term monthly levels, and we're getting rejected again. And this is a larger secondary retest. So let's just be aware of that. Nasdaq's at lows of the day. NQ all the way back to 678, 675. I'll go to that in a second, and we'll kind of shoot through some markets here. Because I think there's a few things that just in the last 48 hours, definitely some things have popped up. Some things where it was market was supposed to continue, especially in crypto. It has not. And then major markets have hit some big numbers. First, Bitcoin. It's like that. And I'll say this, we'll come in Tuesday, probably over the weekend, you're finding yourself flirting back with the 100,000 mark. And then if we go to other indices like the others index, I think we talked about this last time. You have to call it, right? If we're going to do framework, if we're going to stick to what it is that give us gives us the measurement advantage. Uh, Back on down. We talked about this possibility last week and even Tuesday of why the breakdown candle was pretty ugly after the T1 up here, and I'm the same way. Come on back for the bigger type 2 now. That's the others. Take out your top 10. So that's it. I mean that's if you're lucky. Okay, you have a market or you have crypto that's in that index, others index that is still holding up somewhat, but the rest of it, not really. A lot of the T coins and things that were sitting in zones or needing confirmation, not able to move, they're going to continue to do that. Here's one really quick. We talked about Ondo last time. And this, I bring this up because everyone speaks highly of Ondo, and we looked at the pattern of what was going on. Real nice bats, and we would even, I thought sure we could come back and maybe retest the bat pattern here. But what's the last HSI dot? And this is also something I think is helpful, where the last dot here was bearish and we're just still in a type 1 reaction. So your 80 cents come back to 75 or even lower. I mean, you're not, and I'm just bringing this up to be kind of a representative example of the framework in action. If you're bullish on Ondo, it's got to be at the right price. And God, I hate drawdown. I mean, drawdown is just, for me, is not how I play. And if I'm in drawdown too long, then I'm usually bailing. SUI is the other one that's talked about quite extensively. And even this one is a shark, which we talked about back, a month ago. Shark, but needing to go to the 5.0. This is like Bitcoin. And I would say SUI even more likely has to do the type 2 off of the shark back at $2. Back at $2. And that's one of the better ones that people, at least people talk about. The rest of the discussion on crypto, these kind of look like dead markets to me. So here's the one I'm going to scratch out. I think it's time to just, say I'm done. Stellar Lumens. Okay, butterfly, everything. We are now checking back. I didn't even want to be here at 26.5, 26 cents. But it's what we call harmonic dud. And I would need to see another dot. Actually, did we check back? We're checking back today. It looks like this. I would love to get this thing to turn around, but it won't, even if this is a head and shoulders at the right shoulder. Real head and shoulders don't come back. They don't have like a secondary shoulder. So, wish I could provide better constructive commentary here. But we're not going to fight it. Not going to ride it all the way down. It was a nice attempt. And so, where do you go? Oh, is that happening again? We've got okay. So really quick on our Discord. Yeah. You know what? Let's get a couple things straight. First of all, I never solicit money, so apparently they're back at it. Another round of individuals trying to solicit our followers. We don't even have a big group, which is the way I want it. I mean, I'm not out here, dancing in a hula skirt for followers. But hit our Discord. But go in there. If anybody sends you a request for a trading program or money or anything like that, block them and send me a screenshot of the profile, please. And if anybody anywhere else is soliciting money in my name, by all means, just send me a note, DM me on that Discord. Okay? It's gotten crazy. I'll tell you what. Earlier this morning, I got a call from the headquarters of the FBI. I was like, okay, what did I do now? I was like, wait a minute, I haven't done anything bad in a long time. I've made my mistakes, but why would the FBI be calling me? And I called him back. I was like, can you please tell me what this is about? And they said, oh, it's scammers spoofing our number, probably to get private information. So be warned. It's ludicrous, but that's what's going on. And I've already told the public I'm no longer on Coinbase. Will not disclose where I have crypto, and I do have it spread out over many accounts. So, but maybe it's just time to go fully FDIC insured investment accounts and just play crypto through the ETFs. I'm not feeling it. Guys, I'm older than most of you. The signs that I see of like just a lot of the narrative, we talked about that on Tuesday. It's a sign. To me, it's a sign. Without the progress, like if we were ripping and there was FUD, I'd say, okay, trend is still happening, but we've got a lot of situations not happening. A lot of things that people talk about. Dog whiff hat. Okay, yes, it's ridiculous, but dog whiff hat, beautiful big daily pattern, but all it was a reaction, dot to dot. The hop level at 55 cents, it went to 120, right back down, and we could be back at 55 cents pretty quickly. This is a hell of a 48 hours. It really, things can happen when we get to specific levels and we get to those windows, and then they just absolutely flare out, or they do the opposite of what they should be doing. That's stuff like this. Be careful out there. Fake Scott. No, Wayne, I love you guys. Just because he probably, the fake scammer probably said some things. Don't know. Well, Tuesday I was set off. I had coffee, but Tuesday I was set off by just somebody forward me a video, another genius who said he invented harmonic patterns, and that's a whole nother conversation where I can't implore you guys enough. No matter what we do here, what you do, what anyone tells you to do, you got to think for yourself. That's just absolutely my number one rule. You come here, we look at the patterns, we go through the framework so that I can implore certain aspects of each setup and what is truly important versus what to ignore to facilitate your learning curve. You get the software, you get with the website, and then you learn the framework so you can read the market. That ultimately, that's what we're here to do, improve our market reading skills and do it with the harmonic metrics that no other methodology can lay out, and here's Ethereum. What is this? Ethereum on the daily, on the Coinbase feed, it's a type 1. In the last 2 days since we have been talking about the counter dot that happened shy of target 1, rejected. Couple of days here rejected, and most people are looking at that uptrend. More like just absolute frustration of just kind of like tired of the same old. Not necessarily sad, but just let's call it for what it is. It's garbage. Meanwhile, you have certain stocks that are trending aggressively. I think there's better markets to be had than 99% of crypto, and with Bitcoin doing what it's doing, it'll give us another opportunity, but that's going to be lower levels, and it's probably a few weeks away before your next jump on point. Certainly for all of crypto, clock is ticking, and I'm going to say that more and more as we get into the rest of this month and July, where if we don't see development by July, guys, I would have to think that we're going to kind of flare out. And I hear everyone saying, well, gold will go to, excuse me, Bitcoin will go to the market cap of gold, which is 30 trillion or something. I forget what it is, 28 trillion now. And I think gold's going to do I don't know. I mean, I just have a firmer belief in gold than just about all other crypto. Yeah, there's a place for Bitcoin and at the right price always. But, you see stuff like this or Solana here, a daily HSI confirmation like 180, send it back down. Or at least till we get another confirmation. Again, what has happened in the last 48 hours? Because we talked about Solana too. And I like to go through like a half a dozen major crypto market cap examples to really get that feel of what's possible. And this stuff matters. Again, on the 20th, folks, it'll probably be one of my deepest dives into confirmation and what constitutes failed harmonic patterns, or at least failed action at critical harmonic levels. And I thought this would come out of the zone. We were here 2 days ago. I was like, all right, it's deep. It needs to come out and do this. What does it do? It goes back into the zone. That's a few more days. You are a few more days down here for Solana, folks. And in doing that, what are the obvious support levels? I mean, all the way back, roughly go back to like the April lows. We're almost at the May lows, like 140, 125-ish. Look, when you are in an extreme, does not mean you're oversold. It means you're actually expanding where price can accelerate. You are not oversold until you pop out of that convincingly. And I would even say you can't even really get movement off of that oversold signal till you get above the 50 level. That's nowhere to be found. Do I think gold's going to hit 30.55? I really hope so, but I'm starting to think that maybe this 3,300 area, maybe 32, something. I don't know. Gold's acting like it does not want to go down. We'll get to that in a second. I'll go to the PAX G chart because I think it's a great chart to look at. And meanwhile, the rest of the market, you got winners, you got losers, and you got nothings. And there's a lot of nothings out there. And the other part of what we do here is to really kind of highlight stuff that's moving and avoid things that are not. Solana's back down here. I'd even say, target 2 off of that prior pattern at 146 is, not only is that a minimum, but to come back down to this area would just not surprise me literally today, by tomorrow, but, under 146 becomes a problem is what I'm getting at, because there's really nothing. We can go off, again, get the software, kids. Get the software. I don't even want to do it, but this is why you get the software. Do you have anything looking left? We sure do. We have this big bat pattern at 121. That helps reinforce secondary levels of what to be looking at. I mean, frame it out like this. For Solana, that's on the low end and the top end. We could say target 2. It's been a pretty conservative off of the last bullish pattern. 175 to 120. You're one bloody day away down underneath here. I close under 150. Anything. There's nothing but air there. Nothing but air till 121. Yep. Couple more. One or two more. Ponzi's in the house. Ponzi, thanks, but Pons, we need to get you back on because aren't you feeling this? A nice call on the fart coin. Lieutenant Ponzi, check him out over on X. He was here a couple weeks ago. We were talking about a lot of these dog cat Memecoin stuff. A lot of them, some of them ran. A lot of them still sideways. I maybe we get you back before the end of the month because my take on this is that I don't like the harmonic end of this. This is not reacting where it needs to react. I mean, look at XRP. And you got your people that are haters of XRP. You got people that think XRP is going to be the next Federal Reserve. I don't know. You know, I don't have any patterns here. All of the dots, all of our confirmation is like at 205, 203, and I would expect that before this even ends. And I also said last time that the 270 level, which this is the deal for XRP. Okay, 270, 265 is not only just major, but might be what I like to call terminal, meaning that's it. That was the level for the whole run, and that if this has already done what it needs to do, then, well, here we go again. XA, that gives you a Gartley setup, and then what could XRP do? You close under like a $1.90, something like that, then you start doing 786 stuff. And why not? Why not? You have been warned. People have been warned. I just, harmonic, if I read the harmonic layout and plot my dots, what does it show me? It shows me stuff like that. That's it. Here's another one, really quick. Big harmonic. Link, USD. Another one everyone talks so fondly of. And here you go. Go to Binance. This is a big weekly pattern where we need the T2. Back here at 1350, where there the type 1 from there all the way back, the type 2 would be 935. If we can agree that this was a type 1 reaction off of 935 from last summer, and it went all the way to the HSI, even if you just took it to target 2, that'd be a great trade. I mean, there was the confirmation all the way at 29, but straight back down. Straight back down. So 935, not 13, not even 12 or 11. I'm thinking it's $9 would be the next place I would even consider that. And I'll show you one that I've been saying for months is probably the nicest weekly dynamics. Doesn't mean it has to go, but render on the weekly basis, everything you would want to see. I mean, everything. Target 1, type 1 to target 2, back down. Type 2 with the confirmation. That was at 3. It went to 5, and then what happens? Again, this is one of the easier ways that we really discern how strong this move is out of here. It pops out of the zone and then can't follow through, and you produce a counter HSI. That normally sends it back into low range. You're under XA again, and I would say you're going to have to retest. That's like 311, guys. Normally, if this was a strong type 2, you're launching, clearly you're reacting within the 3-5 after confirmation. We need confirmation. Okay, here, There's confirmation. Then the 3 to 5 window. That's the process. We hit it, we retest, green candle within that 5 window. Okay, that's the great start that you'd want to see. That's 5 weeks of action there. Up, 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 and then here, you run into an overbought condition like that. Also back down under the 50. Yeah, I know it's a wine fest. Today is a wine fest of, let's say, reality check, because what has happened in the last 48 hours is a lot of these developments that were looked like if they could continue would be constructive. And what did they do? They just failed. They just failed. So if you're looking for that next entry, I'm going to say probably we're looking like in 2 weeks. We'll go back to the 20th, 21st of June, and then maybe investigate. Jeremy says volume on XRP is diminishing. I probably. Vestige is saying Solana's rejecting 180 goes to 120. I think 120 is a minimum number. That happens now. It's not going to have, it's not like we have to wait anymore. Our 3 to 5 window is up. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun if you're long crypto and it does nothing. And I'm a stock guy. So, I understand the price to pay with crypto of what you have to do to get those sick returns. But this stuff, and then even with like what you're seeing with Bitcoin, inability to not only inability to go higher and break out, but with the shark to 5-0, here, let's bring this back. The shark to 5-0 is like this. Hold on. Shark to 5-0. There's a shark. This is right out of the Volume 2 book. It's a beautiful pattern. If we had confirmation up here, right up at the like 110, 111 area, I would say this could possibly do more, but, shark to 5-0. Now, Pons, you suggested this a few weeks ago. We were looking at the 886, which was like right there. So I guess you were around here on the 20th. And I said, well, this is a little bit different variation. But even at that 886, the 886 was like right here. It was like right there. I said, give it the 3 to 5 window. Even from the 886, within 5 bars, you had, I would say dramatic, but you had an inflection. Now, day 15 on to 16, we're in a full type 1. We're in a full type 1, and you have everything you want to see. This is this amplified RSI. Look, that's pointing back down, rejected to the 50. That's for the bearish argument. What that has done in the last few days is basically seals the deal. Basically seals the deal. You would still need like 2 green days, and we'll get a dot. But my concern is that the 2 days come after several down days. We got that. Last point here on Bitcoin. The monthly close. So by the end of the month, and I still think the next 2 weeks are critical for knowing what we're going to do the rest of the year, and if not beyond. But for the next 2 weeks are going to really dictate what we can expect. We have a dot up here. We have a failed attempt. Doesn't have to just be a one-off, but this candle is going to be big, and you do not want to see a lower low. Lower low basically puts that under, what's that low? 90. Last month's low, 93.3. 93.3. So are we going to go back and retest the candle low from last month? We've got the daily pattern that says so. All right. And I go back to last cycle. All right. The difference is we did not do a parabolic move, but we're at major levels. We have to watch these bars. We're in an area where this should be expanding. It should be continuing without hesitation. So let's see what shapes up by next week. I'm not trying to throw out the fear. Okay, the FUD. All I'm trying to do is line up the framework relative to what the world's expecting. You know, I mean, people are looking for 200,000 Bitcoin, and I don't, you know, even the big names are saying, yeah, the end of the year, 250,000 Bitcoin. I don't see it yet. If we could get a shark to 5.0, get back to 93, and then give us some confirmation, maybe. But last 48 hours have been the least constructive 48 hours I've seen in a long time. And the other thing we want to look for again next week is if we get under this 50 level, like there, just to get in front of it, that could stimulate a larger weekly downturn, just like we saw at the end of December, and definitely confirmed by amplified. Just get in front of it. Just get in front of it right now, so you're not positioning for something that's not happening. Because I still see a lot of people saying, yeah, this Bitcoin thing is going to run. The treasury plays, all of that. Really quick, things like MicroStrategy, okay? Up here, I'm still thinking that we have to do the retest of 525, but not yet. We're back here at the 50 level on the weekly. That needs to turn up. You need to see some individual price action before that happens. Even get a dot. We talked about this on Tuesday, and this is what I was looking for. We were here at the 50. I was like, can we get that continuation to go now? Same with HSI at the 50. That would need to happen for MicroStrategy to continue his enterprise. There's some things in this that really don't want to see that roll over. Do not want to see that roll over. It's definitely reacting off of our last signals. Okay, and I would wait for another dot continuation. 4-hour chart as well. Look, beautiful from back in April 1-2, but is that it? Because you have another HSI that just generated overnight into yesterday with very little price movement. That's another little side note to be looking at. So let's stay in front of it. I don't know if anybody's looking to enter deeper in long positions, and a lot of people are saying, hey, check this out, check that out, but market will not move unless the major pairs are running stuff. And let me just quickly, because I'm going to segue with this stuff from the stock into stocks, but even the big, the miners, we've been talking about these for a year. And here's Mara. Okay, right back with the shark. And just nada. Not able to get above 15. I think you could be back at $12 pretty quickly with this stuff, which is surprising. I don't know. The hardest move for Bitcoin would be to go down and basically hurt these guys. So this is not something I want to be in. I just don't. It's not trending. If you're sitting on it for a long time, yeah, you can continue to sit on it. But if we can ever get out of the hole and go to target one, the call would be just to unload it. whatever the next pop is. And I also said that anything I'm in crypto related, I have a plan to be out within 3 to 6 months entirely. I'll hold some of the long term Bitcoin, but that's it. No matter what, it'll be a dump out. Cycle will be over. And you're even hearing people talk about the fact that, oh, maybe the cycle will not end. Maybe this cycle is different and it will just continue because of the adoption. I'm of the opinion that the adoption is what's hurting the speculative nature of the cycle. You've got institutions in, the dollar sums are insane. You have to think about, okay, it's crypto market is a few trillion. Let's look at the total really quick before I move on to the major markets. But total, where are we? We're 3.2 trillion. Same type of HSI up here, 3.2 trillion. I mean, that's all Bitcoin, seriously. But what's the pattern say? It's a type 1. It did the target 2. Really common. Go from completion T1 up to target 2. This is crypto. I think this is on the weekly too. No, that was the others. And what would need to happen? I mean, how much more do we have to give this? 347 to 3.2. But at what point do we make the assumption that the full return move has begun? It's not much. And the fact that we have HSI right here, okay, if we take out 3.2, let me just highlight a couple of the things. Again, this stuff matters. It's for me, I look at this as really a kind of like an overall bias. What's that? Rejected by the 50, headed back down. And we need HSI to be above the 50 level to assume any kind of resumption in the uptrend. What's happening? We're still down. We've continued to be down. I mean, the reading itself and the divergence really was back in May, about not even a month ago. And that secondary HSI, that lower HSI, that matters. And the only thing that has yet to fall is the price. It's not in the position like we saw a month or so ago after April to get that kind of rebound move. And that's all it could muster. That's the point. Yeah, Pons, I'll send you a note, man, and we'll get you back here and we'll do a deep dive. We'll do a deep dive on those others. One or two more in this crypto sphere space, Coinbase. What are we doing here? Holding up at 250. After this was a 1-2. Remember this? We had this pattern. We had the prior crab pattern from last year. Perfect type 2. But the bat itself is still a type 1. The bat itself is still a type 1, which is reaction. Watch for this on Coinbase. All right, it looked like we could go higher because the weekly. Check out the weekly. Weekly is a beautiful bat trying to get back to 330. What happened on Sunday night? We had an HSI overbought right there. Now it's early, okay, but I never like these type of counter signals, especially if we're trying to get that full return move. So for now, I do think 270 is going to cap it. We go back to the 4-hour chart. What's here? Same bat, but just clearer action. All right, I'm getting in front of all of this because if we have an ugly weekend, guys, we're going to be a lot lower next week. That's if we do not get some kind of constructive action at these current check back levels, then everyone's looking at the gap fill at 215. and then prior lows even lower. But we have to see we are not in at a time where you can have a couple of weak bearish candle days. This window for a possible higher move has to unfold in the next, I don't know, 4 days, 5 days in total. We'll be here on Tuesday assessing what that is. But I think it's already showing it a very weak hand here. And then you go back and retest the obvious support. You know, you're range bound. In fact, it's not going to get you the full return moves here. We have to go back and we do more work. So it's not as strong as everyone is talking about. And anything outside of the top 10, oof, I'd be quite concerned. Let me show you one other one that the hype. Hype, I think, is one that Ponzi was talking about too. Hyperliquid, and this one did pretty a real amazing recovery. Let me get a better feed here. Where's Binance? Binance Coin, Hype, KuCoin. KuCoin's pretty good. I don't know. They get in front of all those little guys. But Hype is another one where I think Justin was talking about Hype as well, right at the low, which was great. But you go 886, reset to 886 recovery. I mean, perfect 39. Make a higher low. If you're long, Justin, if you hear me, if you're still long that, that's probably it for now at 39. It's a lot like SUI. Take it to heart, folks. I wish it was I wish there was a better overall way to I don't know, look at this stuff with in terms of these speculative coins, but there's just not a lot to them. Here's total 3 before I get out of here. And to me, this was really interesting. This was one of the most interesting index charts, crypto charts, period. And again, this stuff, look, why you're here, why we do what we do, is to highlight these small little details so you can see them. But this one is a type 2 off the crab. We had a crab pattern, got overextended. Here, 950, 940, 47 off of that prior crab. That was it. Send it back down. And you had the last 48 hours to do something. It's the next 48 hours that I want to see, and then come into Tuesday, like if we're under 815, 813, and this is the total 3, then shoot the gap down. So buyer beware. Caveat emptor for next week that we could be looking at a return move. It's just not there. Yeah, I think so. Let's transition over. Let's take a quick peek at NQ. Like this. We are up here. We need to do things. We're back to back bat now, guys. We are at the all-time, well, not all-time, because the bat pattern is initiated, the software's picking it off here. Why? Because it's the tighter configuration. I mean, we could do that 886, and I think that 886 was hit this morning, all time, right there, all the way down. 886. I think next to the 1618 is probably the most powerful number in our arsenal. It's like 21,977 is the all-time 886 like that. But the bat pattern here at 834, we're pretty close. I said last week, there is a specific character we need to see going forward. If we're going to bypass these patterns, we need to see big, strong, green, day over day, week over week candles that blow through the levels. So today we're up here. We got up. What was here? This amazing, we had an amazing bat pattern. I think it was extended hours. Take a look at 9. What was it again, guys? 919. Hold on. Yeah, 919 right there. So that and a dot. It works the same way. If it's 5-minute, monthly, it's the same way. And this was something I talked about last time because we had the deep crab, but we went counter HSI. Sends it back up. Another counter HSI yesterday. Do we get another one here? You need a dot. But this frames us out for the next, at least 3-4 sessions. All right, 919 on NASDAQ. Right there. The high was 35. 1 minute. Let's see how that comes out the rest of the day. But that's a great little pattern, and now we're clipping daily patterns, 4-hour patterns, the weekly stuff. We know that the weekly, we're at levels. So every day is critical. Every weekly close must produce progress, or we're going to lean on the pattern itself. And again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because we went into it on Tuesday. Do a review that. But let's see how we close by tomorrow. Should still be a green pattern, but use the every week's prior low. So for now, going forward, under 21,163. Okay, then you could start to maybe make an assumption that something's going on here. It's not yet. We are scraping now HSI. This was what I talked about Tuesday. We had a couple of good follow-through days, but this is a big deal as well. What should happen if it's strong, we should push through. We should expand up into this overbought area. Final piece for NASDAQ weekly chart, and this is the main time frame to really track the whole progress. Follow that up. Follow amplified from 50 to overbought until that rolls over, and until weekly could maybe, if it does something like this and breaks under the 50 level here, a lot like we did back in February, that would be the trigger. We went sideways. I mean, look, it's pretty incredible. We retested the pattern. Our first test of the pattern was a year ago, was June. Sideways, and then July gave us the oversold with the dot that sent it back into the zone, and then literally topped out. It was like a month after the election. Nice push, maybe. Yeah, that was the top. Mid-December, but we did not get the bigger move, the reaction, the opportunity didn't happen until we really cracked the 50. The first time we hit the 50 off of that was back in January. That's like the warning signal, but then the full breakdown was there. That's what we're looking at. All right, I want to see, I'm really on pattern watch, if you will, day over day. And then go back here, our daily. So you got a weekly patterns. You got daily patterns. You have patterns, you have a 5-minute pattern back into the zone. All of it says Okay, if you're not demonstratively strong and can plow through this resistance, then it's going to be maybe another few sessions. We would think pause. Think pause. I'm not going to go full type 1 just yet, but say, hey, we're going to have to digest what's going on at 21,834. Yeah, we could. A lot going on there. I mean, a lot. I can circle back to those others. You guys want to look at some individual stocks? I think we should look at Tesla. I can look at the Connell for Coinbase. Before I do that, let's do the SPY update. Again, back up here. The critical thing that since Tuesday, we actually got a dot here on the daily chart for S&P. We ran up. We were as high as, what was it, 60.15 today. And we've been talking about needing to go above the 6,000 level. Yesterday we had a dot on the close, and you're retesting that dot. Literally today, and you rejected it. The open bar trigger, that was at 596. You know, right where you are now. We were as high as, this is the SPY, by the way. This is the ETF. We were as high as 599. Now, this little check back, it's just today would be literally day one, okay, of considering the whole signal itself. I'm not there yet. And if we're going to fail it, it has to finish strong through here. But again, we could very well be at a point where we go sideways for a few days, and I'll look for this type of thing. Maybe if we roll over, have a bad day tomorrow, then I think next week could be the start of something that at least retests or starts to come back and start to give up some of the gains that started literally back in April. That dot's important on the daily. 4 hours like this. Okay, where's the bat? Where's my bat? I had a bat pattern up here. Oh, I think it's on extended hours, ETH. That's the bat here. ETH. But it's certainly more like 599, 600. I was thinking maybe we'd go as high as 618, but no. I think the zone we have to watch is literally right here at the 600 psychological level. A lot of people are looking at that, and we'll see over the next few days. How does it react off of these triggers? We see crypto. We saw Bitcoin, how that does it. You know, it's going to take several days, several trading sessions to exhibit what is possible. But even on the 4-hour chart, what's happening that you know, maybe not happening since Tuesday was a rejection, a lower high of HSI. That definitely matters. And then again, we get into these 4-hour candles over the next few days into the weekend. If you get that on SPY, then yeah, we're going to have to take a little bit of a break here. We're not going to do that move, that when moon move. Just not yet. Not ready. Again, I'm long term. Yes, long term, I'm bullish. Oh, this was the NASDAQ 4-hour chart too. But we got to have it at the right price. I think it's so critical that we be patient, especially in a market like this, size up our opportunities. That was what March and April was all about, getting in at the right spot. Keep an eye on it, all of that. Sell Walt 600, probably. What's up, Jeremy? Thanks. 103, what's up, Slurpee? He's asking why is 103 the number for the close today? Can I elaborate? Because 103, all right, I'll go back to that. 103 is like this, guys. And it's the same for the larger markets as well. In terms of Bitcoin, really 1033 now. Okay. And look, 4 hour time frame is the bat just completed on the 4 hour, but there's no confirmation. 0, 1032. We're hitting it. T2 just generated. Okay. But where's confirmation? Nowhere. All still pointing down. You know, HSI pointing down like that. Amplified now hitting oversold there. But the reason why, and I'm applying this kind of expectation for all markets. If we're going to see the move, it has to be in this window. Like if Bitcoin's going to do some kind of breakout move to really get going the way a lot of people want it, you already checked back. It's related to this HSI. The idea here is that this is if it's really strong, okay, you're going to retest that little arrow, which you did the following day, and then put in 2 more green bars where it says, this is enough. All right, what was up here, where you go down and you finally hit this area. Why is that so sticky? Don't know. That once you check it back, then you already start to put in the development, because this is supposed to be a divergence. Kind of looks like it's a failed divergence. So closing underneath where the HSI comes in, which is 103.8, or even these prior lows, or that's that prior low at 103.2. That's what everyone else is looking at. They're not looking at framework, guys. Understand that what we're doing here is niche, small group people who really understand why the harmonic measurements work. Most people are looking at that static low here, or the next one there at 102, or the next one at 100. But what I'm saying already, with this kind of action failing what should be holding at 103.8, 103.7, then it just suggests, hey, there's really nothing here until we stretch down a bit lower, hit the static levels, which I think people will run, all the institutions will run it, or when we do the shark, and we know that that's a shark and we're day 16 into the shark, well, shark to 5.0, because the 5.0 level at T1 is the first objective for the whole thing. Combine that with, I don't know, the way these other indices look, or some of the major coins that are doing nothing, or just really disappointing action. Solana comes to mind. And we use the same logic on major markets. Okay, if you have individual major issues, like the Mag 7 not acting the way they should, and the index is starting to roll over, yeah, then they're going to go down one by one. This one here, it's already failing it. But let's just give it a little extra space of saying, you know, I'm willing to say under 103. I think it's already failed, though. Yeah, that's why. Nice, Mr. Luke. He says he likes how the framework enables us to really talk about individual price action. It matters. What happens in the zone, what happens individual price bar, definitely matters. The easiest way that you can identify or verify that a harmonic pattern is something of significance is that, do you have an individual bar? Once the pattern that completes, confirm what it's saying. Like, here's a bearish shark. It completed on the 21st, but the first bearish candle was the 25th. So you cannot expect much until you at least get one bearish candle, and then the breakdown, all within the 30-bar window. So and again, let's say you knew something about Bitcoin. Let's say the government was going to come in and buy all the Bitcoin, and you knew that in advance, but you still had a pattern here. If it was going to fail, it would go green, 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 and blast on through. That's not what's happening here. And we treat it and we go in segments. You know, T1 to T1 dollar sign. That's how it works. All right. Hey, if somebody wants to join for 30 days, folks, type HPC 30. I'll give away one 30-day package, gold membership. Okay, but you got to send your TradingView username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. Everyone else, get to me on Discord. Send me a note if you want to get hooked up. A few people send me some messages like, hey, can I check out the gold Discord for a week or two? No problem, but you got to get with me on the Discord over there. That's why we do what we do. Beograd Dragon, you win. I think you won last year, but we'll let you slide in. You got to DM me on Discord, and I'll set that up this afternoon. Let's look at a few more. Let's talk about a couple of big setups. Apple. Okay. Apple is something that I currently have listed as a major type 2 possibility. Right here at 185. We have double dots. Typically, I would see, wow, double dot, that's probably going to hold. But the T2, the beautiful T2, is at 185. So I'm looking at that, and I think it's a major setup. I'm not going to chase it up here at 200. I will wait for 185, but it is a type 2. And I bring it to your attention because the T1 that the pattern identified was so much a reaction. It goes to target 1, T1 dollar sign goes on, and just can't get through any higher. And then maybe 15 days later, you put in a dot. Those are all signs that this is just reaction, and you're now in return phase. So I like what's going on in Apple. I definitely want to get a larger position here on the retest. This is exactly when I talk about, at the right price. Love the company. I call it a forever stock because I don't think that what you're looking at, that especially it started in 2023 and before, this channel just continues, but at the right price. Another one that you guys know, we caught Tesla, where I'm looking for a secondary entry on Tesla. Whoa, it's a 303. That's down 30 today. That must have really dropped. Get ready. We're type 2 now. Type 2 return, that is. Tesla. For a second, I thought maybe we go right to 404, and we ran into a dot. Just like right there. It was like 4 days ago. So I'm looking at a lot of that kind of behavior. It's not going to take too many more of these to say, okay, maybe we're not ready to bust it. If Tesla has to come back to 267, that's still 30, 35 lower, and then you finally get the type 2. All right, at least you would be there with the type 2. And look what's happening. We are oversold. We were oversold yesterday. Today, it just keeps expanding lower. So I have to say something's up. Something's up in here where you've got enough evidence of what's going on that says, okay, maybe I need to seriously look at this. Tesla, 267. The return phase on the weekly ran into an HSI. So for me, that's going to take more time. Still love it. Still think it's on an uptrend. But if we're stair-stepping, which we are, the next one is 267. It's on 303. It was a nice recovery move, but that's it. A couple others. I'm looking. What's the other one? Where's the other one here? Wanted to show kind of a big one doing the big return. BABA. Remember this? Okay, I think this is going to come back down for a retest. It's a big crab pattern. Big reaction off on a monthly chart. Not able to get through. Where's the weekly setup? Where's some weeklies like that? Was that it or was it daily? I might be confusing this with Baidu. No, let me look at Baidu. Yeah, Baidu's here. Baidu's back down for the return move. On the weekly, look at this. This was the one. So this is a sweet type 1. Amazing reaction to 110. And now we're back down. What's wrong with this in terms of needing confirmation? There's no HSI yet. 83.50's always been the number, but just nothing there yet. A couple others. Big stuff. Big stuff. Broadcom. All-time new highs yesterday. Now that's trending. And we had the daily. Remember the Gartley down here? All right, now with the bat. Ooh, are we going to get it? Nah, not yet. I mean, that's what, if you're really in a trending market, it should look like this chart. You know, you should be firmly in this channel. Although it got overextended to the downside, still patterns were down here. That was 150. We had a couple patterns, 160, 150 area. The dot, bang. So this will still go. Maybe we get a little bit of overhead resistance up here, trying to sell it off against the new highs. Keep an eye on that one. You know, it's in a good spot here where if you're looking for that to be, you know, it's good enough there to be a sell signal here. Why not be, at least for a short-term area, to take some profit off? But that might be done as well. And of course, Nvidia is probably the big one. I mean, I still like Nvidia, and I think a lot of these stocks on the weekly have done what they needed to do in the last, I don't know, 6 weeks of recovering to sustain their long-term uptrend. Nvidia right here at 140, it has to push higher. And we have a couple of patterns. Again, we're in this window. We're in a tight window, guys. 3-5 days. The next, I don't know, week will dictate what to expect for the summer and beyond. If we're not going to push now, then we probably go back into a type 1 off of something like the bat pattern. 120-ish. There's been some good moves in semis. Like you look at Marvel Tech, trying to recover after a devastating crash. It's a type 2 all the way back here on the Gartley. Where's the weekly? Weekly chart. Look at that. Amazing. This was the SOX crash or bear market, 24 to 25, but now holding. I mean, it's a beautiful retest there. What was the other one? On semi. Yeah, look at that. On semiconductor. In a type 1, starting to do some things we haven't seen in a while. That's a weekly chart, by the way. That really should be the low of lows. So you have some real nice patterns. What needs to follow through is definitive price action, at least to 56. And then we see, but they're scattered. There's a lot of things not moving. Whole bunch of stuff that's just sideways to down. What was the other one? There was one other one I wanted to show you guys. Hold on. Well, on a bigger scale, like old economy, I'm looking at Walmart. Walmart on the daily is up here ready for the type 2 crab with a dot. Remember this? Let me clean it up. So we've got big patterns. That's really what I'm getting at. We've got big signs. We've got big developments of things that we can't ignore them. I mean, look, Walmart yesterday did the type 2 of the crab that marked the initial peak back in February. Yesterday's high, 189. The XA level, 167. That stuff matters. Oh, let me get it back. Hold on. And I like to look at these individual companies as barometers, as like the kind of like the individual sample sizes of what the larger indices might be doing underneath the sheets. But there, I mean, 167, draw out the pattern, draw out the zone. Not to mention, software's kicking out another shark. So what's Walmart going to do? It's not breaking out. It should not be printing any bearish candles, in my opinion, if it was going to really blow through and go to all-time new highs. So I've got the antenna up, kids, and I think you should too. Look, 48 hours ago, we were hitting that level, green, 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 all the way up. What's the last 48 hours do? Red and red with a 3-bar breakdown. And this stuff, we'll come back to it, but these are the early signs. And on Tuesday, I was saying, look, there's only one character that must take shape going forward, and that's more like a bypass. And I said, we'll come back Thursday and we'll know. We'll have a much clearer idea of what to be looking at. 2 red candles, not my idea of a failure. Yeah, we did look at CoreWeave. Or no, CoreWeave. We didn't look at CoreWeave. We looked at Hype already. I don't know what CoreWeave is. I know there was something going on there. What's up, Red? Red wants to look at Micron. That's another one. 62, now 108. Look at that. I mean, amazing. Amazing at the low, 65. 108. And again, this is what I'm talking about. When I was saying that Bitcoin, if it was going to be really strong, it would it would have a high level HSI, it would check back and would go green green. That's Micron. That's what a strong HSI looks like. You don't go red, red, red and fail. Micron though, weekly chart. Yeah, that was. So this was a real kind of burner. It did the crazy move. I guess that was a part of the AI rush. And then came all the way back down. Target. There was target 2. Big flush down. And now you're back up. I'm not there yet. For something larger from Micron, I'm not there yet. At least weekly time frame. Because we're almost overbought again. Careful. Seriously careful. I mean, I'm scouring through these markets, okay, looking for just bullish constructive behavior. As we are really challenged by, just major, we're looking at major weekly monthly patterns where we have to focus in now. I mean, we're in a day-over-day assessment for multi-year patterns. That's how critical it is. And if it starts to kind of fall apart, then something's up. And that's really the read I want to stress for today. I say that as Nasdaq starting to roll down. S&P is off. What's that off now? Oh, it's down. It's only down 10. I mean, Nasdaq's only down 65. But you're here at a point where this stuff should be really making a move. If we're going to go into this, I don't know, breakout phase second half of the year, which is the only scenario, the only bullish scenario I have is a strong bullish breakout move. And if we can't do that, then we're probably sideways, a sideways to down grind as we get in later in the year. I just hold me to this week and next week's commentary longer term of how critical it is. And we see stuff like Bitcoin. I think that's what's got me too, where Bitcoin should be something that is, with all the possibility for asset allocation and expansion and all of that, it's printing bearish patterns. It's not a good look. What do you guys have? Let's chill a couple and let's get out of here. What's up, Andre? How are you? Welcome. I think you're new. Andre, if you don't have the software, why don't you send me a note on Discord and get you set up? So I think you're new. He's asking for GameStop. And I'm looking at GameStop because I think with them buying Bitcoin, it gives a narrative where knuckleheads like me would speculate on the stock at the right price. So what's going on in GameStop? We talked about the deep crab at 35 that basically capped, I guess, that post-hype move. And we're still looking for the type 1 to come down. Need to see some kind of confirmation. You don't have it. We've been looking for 30. Okay, and I said look for that. I think we were here, where was it, 32 or something 2 days ago? There's Monday, Tuesday. It was up above 30. We need to see something down here. And I would just simplify it like this. Wait for next HSI or dot. So you're not there yet. It's not in a position. No need to chase this thing. I don't think it's ready to fly just yet, but the next oversold signal could give us something. And there's the weekly chart. I mean, the weekly chart, what I liked about this last time was the fact that we had a higher dot there than at the low. Incredibly, what was that? That was 910 at the low. But I would say if we're not going to hold 30, and you come back, we'll come back on next week. There's no action on this yet, but it's either 30 or it's like 21, 22. Just go slow. This is where narrative can drive you nuts. And you say, all right, well, the kitty guy, he's all over it. And my best friend told me he just, mortgaged his house and he's bought all the GameStop he could. What's the software saying? Any patterns? Nope. Any HSI bullish to send it? Nope. So again, patience with that one. Fortuna Mining, I don't know what that is. And if it's a Bitcoin miner, I would, just on the narrative side of things, I think they're going to get overlooked. Okay, FSM, what are they buying Bitcoin? What's here? It's a weekly bat pattern, and you're retesting. I would say that's about it. Despite the big move today, you're up 10%. I think you're kind of at the limit. That's the weekly. The daily, nothing there. Yeah, go off the weekly. I mean, you don't want to be buying into this kind of rush thing. Great that it's up today. What's the history look like? Yeah, it would take a whole lot to get above 10 and go into price discovery. If anything, I'd be watching maybe next week for this to roll back down to like 5. Back to 5, don't know. Spotify, yeah, that's one that's been trending. Spot, like this. Look at that. I have no idea why. What's the market cap on that thing? 143 billion. That's amazing. That is amazing. Look at Spotify. That's like gold. Amazing. What do I have here? Daily, probably just into another 1618 expansion. But again, we have at least this is what to be looking for when you get HSI checkbacks. Yellow dot, yellow dot, yellow dot, yellow dot. So, hey, get it on the radar. Okay, it's not anything I would jump into right now, but how many times? One, two, three, four, 5 times. 5 times. 5 opportunities on the daily chart since last August to get in on this thing. Have no idea why they're doing so well. But that's the kind of one that you want. The one that I'm in on that keeps on breaking out to new highs is Hood. I've talked about this for a while. Hood cracked above 74 for a while today. What was the high today? 76. Was that 76? Wow, that was 76. 76 today. And my target is still, we go price discovery, but a little bit different. Like this. The Hood price discovery target, and you're running, you're really trying to get to all-time post-IPO highs above 85. And once you do, if we're connecting dots, there's X. A is all the way down here. Amazing at $6. B point at 786 gives us a butterfly. C at a 618. 106, guys. It's a lot like Palantir. Pretty nice. Yeah. I'm not looking at any more crypto today. And Jasmy is just another one of those where it's got patterns all over the place. Bring it up on Tuesday. I'm happy to look at it on Tuesday. But I'm again, that's another one where the story sounds great, but the chart is just nowhere. A couple more. What was there was one other one. Was it Monster with the daily? Well, weekly's overbought at the moment. I like what this is doing, but let's let that come back in. Philip Morris. Okay, this one's just nonstop. I'm gonna try to come up with a list of trending stocks like Philip Morris. You guys know I've talked about Philip Morris and I've talked about Altria, MO, that we're looking for HSI's continuation within the trend, like there or there or there. I'll give you another one. Shout out to my buddy Rob. Urban Outfitters, guys. This has been done an amazing move. How is this stock, clothing retailer in this economy, doing moves like this? And we go back here, you're talking all-time new highs. And I don't think that stops. I think you go into a price discovery move with such a range like this. Okay, it's almost like a new paradigm. All right, something else. Let me go to the monthly chart. There's something driving this that is going to continue. There and there. Okay. The 127 totally failed. If that was a butterfly, 65 would have been firm resistance. No, it blew right through. If anything, 65 is probably future support going forward. This has got 1618, 1902 written all over it. I think 90 is a good play, but how do you play it? Wait for the pullback on our daily. We're obviously overbought at the moment. But look what's going on. Again, I think this is going to be more of value to people, especially longer term traders, that we identify companies that are running and then position on getting in on retracements. And this is getting close. I really like Urban Outfitters. Maybe it's 65. Maybe fill the gap 62-ish. But going forward, I'm going to be doing this more. I want winners, guys. I'm tired, and maybe that's why crypto's got me. Because I'm sick of going through dozens of symbols that have zero trend. When it's a hell of a lot easier to do something like Uber daily. We know Uber's in business. We know Uber's continues to grow, expand, become more of a societal phenomenon. And then look what's going on with Uber. Well, we're oversold. Now today, literally by the close today, we're putting in a dot. And after today, we can start looking for continuation of this long-term uptrend. Forget the bat all the way back here, but every time we've had some dots, except for there, that was the one dot back in November that didn't work out. But within the longer term uptrend, so be it. I'm not really. It's kind of like Tesla. Like I had drawdown on my Tesla position earlier in the year, from 260, 270 to 220. But I was playing it like this, longer term channel trend move, continuation. Uber, same deal. There you go. Little weekly dot, but I'm of the opinion that what started back here in 2022 is a new shift. You're above the trend, you're above the IPO high, comes back for an 886 reset and goes again. And this is where the real growth can happen. What's Uber? Uber's a $175 billion company. Why not 300 or 400 billion? I mean, it's certainly that big. Just a car service. To a lesser extent, Airbnb having a decent day, but still in the 886 phase of this is not trending. This is not trending. It's more like recovery style, but where is it? I had something down here. Yeah, I have this crab here. So, couple of dots, but a type 2. And, things can develop from something like that. One or two more. Trending. ASML. Daily. Down here at the low end, we know that we talked about the patterns at 670, but I want to show this. Okay, big shark pattern. And we're still up there. Look. Let me clean it up. Looking for this thing to continue this long-term uptrend. Shark to 5.0 minimum, 845-ish. You guys get the picture. I mean, there's a zillion of these companies. All right, but the easier way is to sort out those that are clearly trending. T-Mobile, I brought this up before. I mean, amazing uptrend. I'm just looking for the next places to be jumping on this. T-Mobile, daily, HSI, and then the 4-hour time frame. I brought this up last time. Looking for this to break out. There's a Gartley right here. Couple of things. RTH Gartley. There you go. Big Gartley. But you know that thing is trending, and it's worth the shot to be looking at these kind of dots for the continuation. You get things like Spotify, or you get Netflix. I mean, and again, Netflix overextended at the moment, but line it up. Looking for continued reactions off of stuff like that daily dot or down here. I mean, that's been amazing. That's a 4-hour. Where's the daily? Yeah, the last one was back in April. 880. And look at the trend channel. That's, for me, you have a lot of other stocks, like if it's Bitcoin mining or if it's Oh, I don't know. You could go to like this NNOX, which is supposed to be a something Nvidia invested in. Just look at the chart. Clearly, we all can say, is it trending? No. And with crypto, same deal. Is it trending? No. If it's not trending, if you don't have a clear directional move, then you're going to be sitting on it for a long time. That's the way I'm sorting out a lot of things in this market. What's that? Palladium? SFM Sprouts. I like that one. I've seen that before. Has that continued to moon? Sprouts Markets. Yeah, look at that. Huh. Now that's a type 2 Gartley. Not I don't at the moment you'd have to just let that chill, but there are a lot of companies and so who said that? What's up, Jacob? Jacob, it's a great point. And this is I guess on the underlying kind of rationale that I'm really trying to say to you guys, especially many of you, a lot of you are involved with the markets through this garbage crypto. A lot of it's not moving. When we've got stocks doing stuff like this, Sprouts Markets, I would wait for a dot, and that's probably back at like 154, currently 167. But I think there are better opportunities in things like this than hoping we're going to get a moon cycle for crypto. That's not happening. And I say that as crypto's at new lows for the day. Bitcoin's 1029 now, guys. What a junk. Let's go back. Let's recap. Okay. Crypto. Okay. Crypto's okay. If it's trending, if it's if you're clearly not having to struggle with the fact of is it up or down. I mean, yes, Bitcoin's up. The last jump on point was down here at 76. The next jump on point, I'm calling it now. Next jump on point for crypto is 93,200. You heard it here first. You're going to close today under 103. That seals the deal. And then another nasty candle tomorrow. I'd already say you're there. There's nothing but to shoot the gap here. All right, let's stay in front of this. We're day 16, 17 into this. 10, 12 more days. You get down there. And we're at our T1 and we'll see if we get another opportunity to get back on at 93 with a dot or confirmation. It sure doesn't look like it. If anything, what looks like it's going to happen for Bitcoin, you come back in for a double test. And you don't want that. With HSI, the way HSI comes together, that means more time. And if you're looking at something and you have to make the assessment, it's going to take more time, then you know that whatever the current move is, it's going to continue. I'm saying 93.2 by the time we come back by the 20th for our session. All right? So that's what I have for today. You guys have any questions, you get over to me at harmonictrader.com. Last time, I'm going to put this in the chat. All right? Hit me up on the Discord. Come on over there. And again, if anybody wants to get in on what we're doing or, hey, Scott, I want to check it out before I subscribe or whatever, just send me a note. Okay? I think you'll see what we're talking about pretty quickly. I don't think people should have to pay to find out whether or not it's for them. It's pretty straight up. Most people, yeah, they get it. They know they can't ignore the information. And then, give yourself the time. Give yourself 30 days to at least get familiar with what we're doing here. Beyond that, everybody, have a great weekend. I'll be back on Tuesday. Let's hope it holds up, but, put a fork in it for 93. And we'll check back there. And that'll be the play next 10 days, 2 weeks. Let's see how it goes. Have a great one, folks. We'll catch you next time. As always, go get 'em.